Okay, hey everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is a new series that I started called Creative Conversation, and what it's about is it's about picking different people and places. A new element that I'm doing now is actually going to the place, but now I don't have to go far because my guest is my husband. So we are in our home, and it's really cold, so it's a good thing. So the whole point is to talk about hey Lori, good that you're here. Hey Mona. The whole point is to talk about creativity and how they define it and how they approach it in their life and why they think it's important. So those are the three main questions that I will be asking my guest. And then he's going to show us how to make this really yummy rub that's really appropriate for the day. So we're going to jump right in. And let me just say that the whole purpose that I do this, the whole purpose of the theme of creativity beyond my company being called I Am Creative, is that I think that this is a form of expression. I think your creativity and whatever it is your expression. And that expression creates connection. And because other people share that as well. You're not the only one in it. You find you may feel sometimes alone, but you're not. So anyway, let's jump into this. Enough of me talking. And so Art Citron, bald guy in the kitchen.
Hello.
And let's start with the first question, which is, what is your definition of creativity?
Creativity. We're all creators. So everything that we do is a creation. Whether you're creating art, whether you're doing math, whether you're running, whether you're doing Tai Chi, whether you're cooking, you're creating. And how to be creative is basically not thinking entirely about, like if you're cooking something, you're not thinking entirely about measurements. Sometimes you're not measuring, sometimes you're throwing it in. Like, the old time cooks, my grandmother, my mom, she would be like, oh, a little bit of this, what's this, who's this, spice? And they would mix it up, and that's creativity.
So it's spontaneity.
It's spontaneity. It's also the sense of, just thinking outside the box and not always being stuck in, for lack of a better word, rules. You're not really stuck in rules. You're unstuck in rules. You're basically allowing yourself to flow and be part of the moment. And if you're in the moment, you're creating.
Okay. So do you think that there's creativity within everything?
Yes.
That's what you did.
I mean, basically, there's creativity in being a lawyer, being an accountant, being, a person, a painter, a house painter, being a carpenter. There's creativity in that, because it's like, you're not only measuring or doing something, like if you're doing a piece of furniture, you're not only creating something that's measured and perfectly thinking with the left side of your brain, but you're also creating something that's going to be aesthetically pleasing. It's going to be something that's functional. It's going to be something that's going to be to fit the person that you're making the furniture for. Mm-hmm. So that's creativity. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a flat, square piece of wood, you're creating something that's going to be useful, and it's going to be that hopefully is aesthetic. Mm-hmm. So there's creativity. There's creativity in being an accountant. I mean, sometimes, depending on how corrupt the accountant can be, or not corrupt.
It doesn't have to be corrupt.
It doesn't have to be corrupt. I mean, sometimes the accountant can come up with ways to be able to save you money, to be able to save his or her client money, to be able to come up with ways to, help the corporation. So there's creativity in being an accountant. There's creativity in being a teacher. There's creativity in being, a student. There's, everything's creative.
So I believe that there's a sense in that you are creating it. There's basically definition of creativity is the formation of an idea or an object. So within that, there's everything, and there's creativity, like in being an accountant or any of that in the organization of that. That is definitely a creativity. So moving beyond this, and if anybody wants to jump in, say anything, ask any questions, please do that. We would love that. Okay, so about you. So how do you find creativity in your life?
And producer. So even if something that I'm working on is not creative, I do it in a creative way. Telling a story, no matter how mundane the story may be. I'm trying to give it something that has a little bit of life to it. If I'm doing something like cooking, I'm definitely creative in that. Creative in making my own films and TV shows. But if I'm doing something like, let's say I'm doing my day job. Right now, my day job is I'm working for a major medical website where people go to get their advice
Names
from.
can't be given.
I guess WebMD. I work for
Yeah.
WebMD, so I create the stuff. I edit these things for WebMD that, though not creative in the sense, because it's interesting, and it's basically talking about and it's geared toward doctors, basically talking about medical things, which to me is not entirely fun and not entirely exciting, but it's interesting because we add elements to it that are very entertaining and very creative, and we add music, we add sound effects, we add just certain things to give it to make it enjoyable, because it's like doctors want to be entertained too, even if they're watching something that's informative. So that's creative. That's being creative.
So it's the visuals, it's the fast pace. What I love about when Arthur edits is that he edits to music. So a lot of it is based on a beat. Right.
A lot of times, even if and there's also an internal beat. If you're editing a scene, it could be reality, it could be scripted. There's a beat in what's going on in the way people are talking and looking. Walter Murch, who is an editor, and he edited, he was a sound editor for The Conversation, but he also edits a lot of things. He wrote a book called Blink of an Eye. And when people look at things and they change their view to look at something else, they blink and they open their eyes up. That's a natural pause. So that, therefore, when an actor is blinking, let's say he's looking here and he's talking to somebody, he blinks and looks up. That's a perfect cut point to look at what he's looking at or she's looking at. So there's a beat in that. There's an understanding of where the conversation is going. Let's say there's a two shot. You have two people talking. There's a point where you want to cut to a shot of the person being talked to that's isolated from the other person talking. And there's a certain point, there's a beat in that. There's an element in that impels you, that compels you to want to see what's going on with the person that you're talking to. And that's where the creativity comes in. That's where an editor comes in and can make or break a film. I mean, the editor has always been told that, always been known to be the second director, and they could take a mediocre film and make it great. They could take a piece of crap film and make it good. I mean, it's always the story that, producers will come in and bring me footage. It's like, here's a pile of crap, make any clear out of it, and the editor is tasked to do it. And the way to do that is to become creative. Even, a script, sometimes, you have a writer who writes a script, and that's a creative process in itself. And then it's given to a director, and it's given to the actors, and they all have to put in their input of being creative. It's a skill set. It's something that people know and people learn.
And I have to say, being with him for many years and seeing him in the process of this, probably many lifetimes, seeing him go through this process, how brains work differently, I would shoot my brains out. Like, I just couldn't. It's so repetitious. There's so much information. How he takes all of this information and breaks it down and synthesizes it to like 5 minutes is just, it's hours and hours worth of footage that has to be put together. And it tells a story that gets your attention. And it's an amazing process. So I'm looking at what Michelle wrote, and I agree. I think it is a muscle that needs to be stretched and worked out, because I think that you can fall into like a really flat, dull space, and then you can just kind of be stuck and not feeling very good because you're feeling that stuckness. So yeah, you have to challenge yourself and do something that scares you, that makes you like nervous. I have to admit, before I do any of these, this is not my normal space. I am not a person in front of a camera. So I get nervous before doing any of these. So I'm challenging myself to stretch and do this, and it feels good. When I do it, I'm like, yeah, I did it. So anyway, let's get back to, so last question, and then Arthur's going to show us how to create a really yummy rub. So Why do you think creativity is important?
Well, it's like you said, sometimes you're in a rut and you need something that could take you out of that rut. What else makes it important? Creativity is just, people say they're not creative, and it's like, that's not true. Everyone's creative. And like I said, whether you're, I don't know, a math teacher or whatever, whether you're doing something that you don't think is creative, there's creation in that. And everyone's creative, and I can't even say,
I know
it's a hard topic, but basically it's, to quote, I don't know, I'm not particularly religious, but, God created man in his image. And what is God? God created the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're in his image, we're creators like God is. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, we're creators. We can create things. We can create something in our lives. We can create something for other people. Mm-hmm. We can bake cookies. That's a creation. We could, write a poem. That's a creation. We could, I don't know, walk the dog creatively. It's basically, it's like, someone asked me, I was working on a really bad reality TV show, and it was mundane, it was awful, it was, it's soul sucking. And someone said, how do you find, how do you make this, feel entertaining and feel creative? It's like, I don't find what I'm doing to be entertaining. What I do is make myself be entertained by it. Mm-hmm. So you're creating yourself to be, you're entertaining yourself. And if you entertain yourself and you're feeling good about yourself, that energy is going to fall on everyone who's looking at it, whatever you're doing. And that's creativity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So thank you for that. And anybody that has to chime in on their definition, please jump in. So I want to be able to have Arthur share his creativity in the kitchen, which is pretty amazing, and tell him what we're going to make.
Well, we got up this morning. Right now it's like 15 degrees. I got up this morning. It was 10 degrees. It was effing cold.
So it's warmer.
It's warm. Yeah, it's warmer now. It's a balmy 15 degrees. So I was, I thought, let's make something that's like can give us a little bit of warmth to it. So I'm making a recipe to have the hot cocoa to make hot cocoa. So basically, I'm doing a hot cocoa recipe mix, and with it, I'm putting in a cup of cocoa. This is baking cocoa.
So is there anything I can help with?
You could stand there and look pretty. Check to make sure
okay.
We have milk going. We planned this already.
Okay.
Isn't it weird?
So what should it be doing?
It should just be warm.
Warm. Okay.
Is it warm? Okay.
I'll warm it to medium.
Okay.
Okay.
Quarter cup of sugar. I'm using raw sugar. I'm putting in a tablespoon of cinnamon powder. A little bit of half a tablespoon of ginger, ground ginger root. See that? There we go.
I'll put the recipe underneath this too.
This is
later.
Clove powder, half a teaspoon of clove powder. Half a tablespoon of allspice powder. Half a tablespoon of nutmeg, ground nutmeg. What I love about nutmeg, it's like, that's Thanksgiving and Christmas. Because it's like pumpkin pie. It just has that wonderful flavor. And
if we had smell-o-vision, that would be good.
I love
smells really good.
And this is cayenne pepper, half a tablespoon of cayenne pepper.
So a little kick to it.
A little bit of a kick.
Okay.
And I'm going to mix all that. Notice these bowls? Hollis made these.
I did. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you. So why do we have this here?
Well, that way we could store it. This stuff can store in your cupboard for almost ever. This is all dry. There's nothing wet in here. As long as you keep it sealed. Yeah.
It creates like a smoky.
Oh, sorry. I want to get the lumps. Out. Notice there's some lumps in there, so I want to try and get that out.
Oh. On the paper, sharing is caring. Find the mini. Yep. Agree, Forrest. Thank you.
All right. Well, actually,
should we get a funnel?
Yeah, well, let's first test this out.
Okay.
Milk's doing good.
Okay.
Just a little bit more. Hi, off camera for a second.
There we go.
Hi, back here. All right.
So everything you need in here for the hot chocolate. With a spice rub. So this is like this different kind of rub. So
rubbery mixture of spice.
Yeah. So Arthur and I are doing Saturday, February 16th. We're doing a event called Get Your Rub On, 5:30 to 8:30 in Medford, Center for Life and Living. Center for, yeah, I think I got that right. Sorry if I didn't, I'll fix that. So it's going to be a 4-course meal with various rubs on all the food served, and then that's including drinks. Yes.
All right. Well, you know what you need to do? I'm going to measure out because we need to put it into the milk because right now we have milk and cream. We have
on the stove.
Over here on the stove. I'm over here now. 2 cups of milk and 1 cup of heavy cream. Not half and half, I should say. And it's simmering. It's getting warm.
Hot?
This is good. It's not hot. It's warm. Raise it up a little bit. Raise it up a notch. And in that, if you want to maybe turn the camera over this way, we can figure that out. I'm going to put in 6 of these big-ass tablespoons into this pot of warm milk. 2, 3.
I need to take this out.
4,
Sorry.
5, 6. Okay, that's good. Yeah. And you have to stir this until it all dissolves, melt away.
So I love that. Yeah, Mona, Taste of Vision would be good, but you can make this at home on your own. That's the whole point of why we're doing this. So I will include the recipe when we're done all this. So I can't wait because I didn't have any coffee or anything this morning.
That smells so good.
I don't think I can stretch the cord to show you what it looks like. I would.
I'll put it to you.
So how long do we mix it for?
I just stir it until all the stuff kind of dissolves into the milk.
I'm gonna get some mugs.
Get some mugs. Get 2. Get enough for everybody.
Yeah, really. Anybody want some?
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Pretty mugs.
Ah. Ooh, what? Don't get on the computer. It's dripping.
I won't get on the computer.
It's
I
dripping.
promise.
It's dripping.
All right. Hold on. Don't hold that thing. Where'd it go? There.
I know, Deb.
What?
She wants some too.
Come on over.
Okay.
And the magic, the pièce de résistance.
Perfect for a chilly day.
Yay.
Hey. Okay, spoon or no spoon?
Spoon?
No?
Sure, why not?
Sure.
I don't care.
Okay. So
right.
Let's taste it. Let me taste this.
You
See what you think here. Whoa.
Yeah.
You have whipped cream on your lip. That is like that kind. That's like a major kick. Wow.
That's good. And the cloves and nutmeg, the cayenne pepper,
wow.
Cocoa.
That's like a party.
This is really good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. So on that note.
That'll warm your cockles, if you know what I mean. nothing better than hot cockles, let me tell you.
On that note, thank you for tuning in. I will put the recipe in there. I'm going to see who my next person for Creative Conversations is. This is so fun for me to be able to learn. It's conversation.
Yeah.
To be able to hear different people's perspectives, and it's just fun. So thank you again for joining in. Emily, you can watch the replay. Any questions, comments, anything, please put it in the box. And hope you have a great day wherever you are. Okay, thanks for tuning in.
Bye, guys.